Welcome to Waywut, your weekly verbal double take. This is a rabbit hole podcast where a couple of old guys do moderate to shallow dives into various topics, ranging from true crime, paranormal, sports, pop culture, or anything else that we find interesting. We drop episodes every Tuesday and on Fridays if we feel like it. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and TikTok. We appreciate you joining us. And now that we got all this self-promotion stuff out of the way, here we go.
Why, hello there, and thank you for joining us for your weekly verbal double take. Today, I am captain of this dinghy as I guide us to calm waters to another topic that made me say, wait, what? Joining me is my first mate who has extensive knowledge on all types of dinghies, Darrell Holiday.
No, I don't. And I mean that in every sense of the word. I'm not a boat guy. I'm also not a weenie guy. So, you know.
It reminds me of the Chris Farley joke when he's on Tommy Boy. He's out in the little boat, and his dad was stuck in the boat in the middle of the water, and his dad was like, "Quit playing with your dinghy." Well, a few months ago, my son Ian and I, and actually a few weeks ago, my wife and I, we stayed out of town for one of his baseball tournaments. Well, it didn't start off that well, as the Airbnb house we stayed at sucked. This house was terrible. We showed up there on a Thursday night. It was pretty late after the games. It was Friday night after the games. The house was set on 78 degrees. So we're like, ooh, it's pretty warm. But, nobody's been there, so fine, we'll shut it down. Get it all the way down as far as possible. Wake up the next morning, we sleep fine. We go and do all our games that day. We come back, and the house was still really hot. Really, really hot. And I called a lady. They say nothing's wrong with the air conditioner. And then I go and I put something in the oven. I put our pizza in the oven. And I'm sitting in there, we're playing in video games in the living room. We got our fan set up in front of us because it's still freaking hot in the house. We can't even go in the bedroom. It's so hot. And sitting there playing WWE on our PlayStation. About 20 minutes go by. I'm like, all right, the pizza should be ready. So I go in the oven. Never came on. All the oven was broke. It wasn't working. I'm like, all right, this is enough. So I call the lady again. They bring somebody out. Anyway, long story short, we didn't stay at the house that night. She gave us a refund, and we stayed at a hotel. But she would not give me a refund for Sunday because she thought I was playing her, and this was a scam that I just wanted to get a free room. That I was done playing for the weekend.
We all want rooms that are, like almost 80 degrees, and we're unable to cook. And
yeah. And she thought it was a scam because she thought we were through playing baseball for the weekend and we were just wanting to go home and we didn't need to stay an extra Sunday night. Well, little did she know we were playing all day Sunday and we planned on staying Sunday night. We already paid for the room, but she refused to give me my money. And as of today, I am still paying on that house.
Airbnb didn't get involved?
No, they would not get involved. They've already received they're like the third party in between.
Yeah, I know, but typically, like if you look at the way that they advertise it, if they say, oven, air conditioning, stuff like that, and did not provide that, that's usually some recourse there.
We left a bad review on Airbnb's website about this house, and within hours, the lady left a rebuttal, if you will, trying to save face.
Well, that's why you make sure you always take pictures.
I did.
Did you post them with your review?
Yes, I took pictures of the AC unit saying how hot it was in the house. I took a picture of the, the pizza not being working. You can't really prove that. Yeah. There was no hot tub like she said there would be.
Wow.
It was bad. Yeah. However, what made the trip memorable was not only how well Ian and his team were playing, but we were really close to Caddo Lake. Now, Caddo Lake is a 25,000 acre lake that is on the border of Texas and Louisiana. Now, before you ask, this is the same lake that is depicted in the new movie from M. Night Shyamalan entitled Caddo Lake.
Is he actually? Did he actually direct it, or is it just one of those that he's producing?
I do not know. I could see him directing it because of how
Did you watch it?
I did. It's good.
Oh, I know Denise wants to watch it. Uh, I gotta know. Are you going to mention the fact that Caddo Lake is the only natural lake in Texas?
Yes.
Okay, just
Yeah.
wondering.
The movie did a good job of showing the uniqueness and beauty of the lake, but nothing compares to seeing it up close. We had the pleasure of doing a tour with Captain Raw and Swamp Tours. The tour started off in the deepest parts of the lake in an inlet. This inlet is lined with big houses, all with big decks. I mean, these were some pretty swanky looking houses, and they're all decked out with a place where you can jump off into the water from.
So, did you like looking at those big decks?
The bigger, the better.
I mean, how did your wife like the big decks?
She didn't mind it.
I mean, y'all don't have a big deck, right?
No,
No,
no.
y'all don't have a big deck.
Like an average size deck, probably.
I don't know. I mean, I've been in your backyard. There's not much of a deck there.
um, Mostly places, like I said, had places for you to jump off into the water about 20, 25 feet below, or giant slides that would skip you across the water.
Ooh,
According to Captain Ron, most of these homes are on Airbnb and a perfect place to celebrate 4th of July. Uh, Once we got off this inlet, we entered the part of the lake that was surrounded by the strange yet gorgeous Spanish moss adorned cypress trees.
hey, wait. You bring up these nice, swanky, big deck houses
Uh huh.
or on Airbnb. Did you look at how much they were?
They're pretty expensive,
Okay, I was
but
just kind of curious.
they're usually for like a
Like,
family.
yeah, where
Yeah.
you do like have. I mean, because we did that before. Where like my parents, my sisters, and their families, and my family, we rented this big ass lake house in
Hmm.
Thunder Bay. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's worth it if you go in, like you said, with 3 or 4 families, or a group of 10 people,
yeah, because I
where it's
mean,
easily affordable. Then.
yeah, that way the entire family can enjoy the big deck.
Very true. Very true.
Mom, get on this big deck.
Feel how smooth it is. They must like rubbing this big deck.
My wife's been on that big deck all day. Can't get her off that big deck.
It's funny. We were listening to our latest podcast the other day, and my wife was like, "Y'all are nothing but poop and dick jokes."
I mean, we had that comment recently where the guy, about the motorcycle club
Oh,
episode where
gay motorcycle
he's
club.
like gay motorcycle club. I ain't listening. And I was like, sorry, we'll come up with a gay troll episode for you. He's like, I'm not gay nor a troll. I'm just not interested in gay motorcycle clubs. And I'm like, look, you can
How
listen
do
to
you know
lots
he
of
was
our episodes.
gay?
Well, I think it was because me on the pink scooter riding bitch. Um,
When I
but
made that, I didn't even realize that you were sitting on handlebars. I thought you were riding in front of the
no, I
handlebars.
was riding bitch. I was on the back. The girl was driving, and I was on the
Oh, I
back
thought you
holding
were
around
talking
her.
about the
I was
artist or the art.
no,
Okay.
I was riding no. So, anyways, so I just let him know. I was like, dude, we have a variety of topics on our show, and only a handful of them are gay. Just a few.
Just a few.
I
There's only a
mean,
few times we talk about
just.
butts.
I mean, yeah. If you reach in there and just grab an episode, yeah, we're gonna be kind of gay in it, probably. But I mean, you never know. So it's just poop, dicks, and us being gay. So
It's what pays the bills. I don't know what to
yeah.
tell you. Anyway, well, where was I at? Once we got off this inlet, we entered the part of the lake that was surrounded by the strange yet gorgeous Spanish moss adorned cypress trees. It's very similar to the part in the movie, and this area was very cool. The water was just deep enough for a pontoon boat as we weaved our way through the trees. There were lanes with arrows leading you the way. It was actually really cool. You couldn't see anywhere in front of you. You thought you were about to go right into a bunch of trees. And then you see this little white plaque with a little red arrow telling you slightly go this way. And Captain Ron rolls us that way. I mean, we were going like 2 miles per hour, just weaving through all these trees. It was really, really cool.
Cool.
Yeah. It was very quiet, very beautiful. And just by looking at it, you could think you were not on this planet. I was just waiting to see something move through the trees or come popping out of the water. Just like Darrell has stated before, nothing happened. However, this lake has had mysterious disappearances, or a mysterious disappearance, weird encounters, and of course, a ghost sighting. That is what we will get into today.
Ooh, you're doing something spooky.
Yeah, something a little different.
I'm gonna disappear right now. Just watch. Totally disappeared. It wasn't that I forgot to plug in my laptop. I promise.
I keep checking mine too. I got a janky cord.
Well, Jesus Christ. I'm keeping this in. Everybody watch me fuck this up.
There he goes. He is under his desk. He says he's working on the electrical cord, but I'm not so sure.
So, as you see on my couch behind me, it's the most amazing couch in the world, and it has electrical outlets on it. Well, whenever I edit on my couch so I can watch TV. And I dropped my cord back there. I just forgot to plug it into the wall. And I didn't remember until my laptop just now was like energy saver mode. Do you want me to do the rest of the show like this?
On the
floor? For those of you listening, I'm sitting on the floor.
Hey, man. I won't be able to see you very well.
All right.
So,
okay, so tell me about the
count out there. That's 2 times Darrell has done this, and Jason has only done it once.
Well, they don't know about the other time. The other time I edited it out, and I edited out the time you did it. So,
well, now here's a reminder. This has happened twice. Now.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, well, at least you caught it before the screen went blank.
Yeah, that's true.
Very true.
Okay, so please tell me about the spooky ghost in the eastern part of Texas, full of all the weird East Texas, Louisiana hybrid people.
Yes. All right. First, a brief history of Caddo Lake. The lake is named after the Native American tribe, the Caddo, that inhabited this area up until they were forced to move to designated Indian territory in the 19th century. It includes one of the largest flooded cypress forests in the U.S. and is a protected wetland. There are 2 theories on how this lake formed. One by earthquakes. The other is flooding caused by a logjam, better known as a Great Raft, that disrupted the flow of the Red River. Regardless, it has been dated to be hundreds of years old.
Just hundreds?
Yeah, just hundreds.
Oh. Wow, that. Go figure. The one natural lake that we have in Texas, and it's like barely anything age-wise.
Yeah. Wildlife shacking up at Caddo Lake includes owls, snakes, frogs, waterfowl, bobcats, river otters, beavers, and eagles. Alligators are also said to use these waters. This may not be true, but Captain Ron swore that mosquitoes don't come around. Now, I can attest that not one time during our muggy evening tour did myself or Ian get bit by a mosquito. Whether this was by coincidence or not, I don't know. Kind of a strange little. It was at 7 o'clock at night in July on a water.
That is pretty weird because, like, I can't imagine the waters move that much.
No, they were very calm. Yeah, it was almost like a swamp in a sense. But you would think there'd be giant bugs, but not one.
Well, maybe it could be all the critters that eat them there.
Very true. Don't know. Like you said, all the birds. I have no idea.
Spiders in the trees.
Well, now that we have learned a little about Caddo Lake, let's go over the stories that surround it. First, the story of the Weeping Woman. There was a young woman who used to come to the lake waiting for her man to return from the army. Every day she would go to their secret meeting place with her long hair let down, sit in her solitude, and weep just waiting for his return. Word came at last that he had died in battle. She would continue to come to the lake and mourn her loss. When her people went to find her, she was no longer there. And though they looked all over the lake, they never saw her again alive. There have been numerous sightings of a tall, thin woman with long flowing hair covering her face weeping on the banks of Caddo Lake. It is also said you can hear her crying. I could not find her name anywhere in the research I was doing.
Well, I would like to offer the juxtaposition that if you got a woman crazy enough where she's just gonna go to wherever y'all used to boff over by the lake and
Hmm.
cry all day while you're gone, the bitch is probably crazy, and he probably found himself a normal French chick overseas and just decided to stay there.
No, he just sent back saying that he was dead
Yeah,
so he could stay there.
say I'm dead. And my name's Jean Pierre now.
There's pretty a lot of sightings of this woman, this weeping woman on the bank. Where you could see her just standing there. Doesn't scare anybody, doesn't try to hurt anybody. Just you could see her and you could hear her crying. And if you see the pictures that hopefully we will be able to add to this video, if you were to be in these places at dark, I could not imagine the crap you would possibly see or hear.
If you want me to put pictures on here, you need to send me pictures. I'm
I have
not
it
gonna
ready.
find pictures for you.
No, I have it ready. I have a
Okay.
picture and a little video of
Don't
where
do
I
a little
was.
video.
It's with it. It just
No,
goes with it.
no. We'll do the video as a TikTok and relate it to it later. I'm not throwing a little video in there. We are not a news organization. We're not going to be able to like, and let's check out Jason on the field at Caddo Lake.
No, it's
No,
not me in it. It's me filming the water and the trees.
I'm not putting that in the middle of a podcast.
Oh man.
Think about all the listeners to be like, man, did you hear that
No, we'll
water?
be talking over it as I'm discussing about it. You could be showing pictures about it.
Who wants to hear you commentate on a lake? Well, see, right here, what we got, folks, is there's some water
Mm,
and it's lightly rolling, and there's a tree. It's a
fine.
pretty tree.
It'll just
Yeah,
be pictures.
pictures.
All
All
right.
right.
Okay. Well, of course, there are Bigfoot sightings. In fact, in the near town of Jefferson is home to the headquarters of the Texas Bigfoot Research Center, and they consider their town to be the Bigfoot capital of Texas. Now, cryptozoologist, I never heard this term before in my life, and here I am actually using it after you introduced it to me a couple of weeks ago. I call Caddo Lake the land of Bigfoot. The Bigfoot Research Center states, in addition to the visual encounters, there is a continuous growing body of physical evidence. The evidence consists of photographs and casts of footprints and handprints, with some of the casts determined by dermal ridge experts to be of unknown primate origin. Hair samples found in association with encounters that scientists have determined to be of unknown primate origin, and recorded vocalizations that bioacoustics analysts have determined to be of unknown primate origin. Clarification: a Bigfoot looking mofo.
All right. First, is Bigfoot the one eating all the mosquitoes, or the mosquitoes all over him? Ooh.
Ooh.
Two, um, with the invention of the trail cam,
Mm
um, I'm glad you can find footprints and some hair or whatever,
hmm. Mm hmm.
but you can strap a camera that's motion activated on a tree, on several trees, on a lake full of trees to find the Bigfoot capital, the all these Bigfoot that are apparently swimming around in this little ass lake. It
Mm
ain't
hmm.
I know it ain't like a huge lake, but I mean it
No,
ain't,
it's not
come
very
on.
deep.
No, it's
It's.
not. You could if Bigfoot was there, I'm pretty sure we'd already gotten a picture of it.
I would agree, but Now, after reading, I've written down here two observations that people have put a report out on. And the way they make it sound, if these are credible, is
Okay.
that Bigfoot is actually pretty smart and is very uh, hip, very coherent to being seen on camera. Like he tries to avoid it, if you will.
That's why I said you put a fucking bunch of them out there. I mean, look, I'm hip and coherent to camera, but I
Mhm.
can't walk down a goddamn street or through a casino or wherever without being on 87 cameras. You
Very true.
stick 87 cameras on 87 trees, you're going to see something.
True. True.
So, stop feeding me bullshit, Bigfoot Texas Society or whatever, and I'm sure you get donations from all your weird trailer park people, and
Mhm.
I get it. I want Bigfoot to be real too, but don't go around boasting that you got like this. Oh, a lot of signs of Bigfoot over here, and you ain't got me a damn picture yet. You
No.
put your trail cams up and shut the fuck up. Anyway,
Well, well, here are some eyewitness accounts that's been reported on one of the Bigfoot websites I was looking at for Caddo
okay,
Lake. All right, it's pretty detailed and it's kind of credible. All right, I don't believe it. I'm just reporting what I
okay.
found here. All right, witness was still hunting for deer at mid afternoon. He was concealed at the water's edge on the southeast side of Benton Lake off Big Cypress Bayou above Caddo Lake when he noticed movement out of the side of his eye. Witness observed an animal in motion of standing up from a crouched position, standing in approximately 1 foot of water. Animal then looked from side to side and walked out of the water and disappeared into the woods. Animal was standing and walking on 2 feet. Animal did not notice him as he was well camouflaged and off to the side at about 50 yards. Witness got to observe Animal for what seemed like 2 minutes as it looked around and walked off. Animal appeared to be 6 feet tall, covered with hair from head to toe. It appeared to be black in color, but was in the shadows of trees and had no direct sunlight on it. Witness could not make out facial details. Being alone and somewhat startled, he did not go look at the place where Animal walked out of the water, but left the scene. On his way back to his truck, he did see one very large footprint in some loose soil. Right? There's no footprint. Witness is 20, goes on a little bit longer here. Witness is 29 years old. He has hunted this area his whole life and has heard many stories of Bigfoot and has heard many unexplained noises, seen many possible footprints, but this is his only actual sighting. This sighting is only a quarter mile from another sighting during winter of 2001 by one of our locals that will not go public with his sighting, and at 3/4 miles from where I had an encounter with a possible Bigfoot, also during the winter of 2001. That's the end of the report.
So it's actually a guy telling a story that another guy told him. Okay. Anyway, first, being a hunter,
Mm-hmm.
or well, I used to hunt. I don't really get to hunt anymore. But the one thing I ever saw that was like out of the ordinary while I was hunting was a mountain lion. And I fucking shot at it because I thought it was the biggest bobcat I ever saw.
Yeah.
Even though it turned out to be a mountain lion, but I wanted that damn, I look at this thing. So you're sitting there with a gun in your hand, and a big hairy monster guy climbs out of the water. I don't want to kill Bigfoot. I don't. If we could put a tranquilizer dart in his ass or catch
Mm-hmm.
pictures of him on camera, that's great. But if I'm in the middle of the woods, I got a gun, giant monkey man climbs out of the water, and I'm gonna get rich if I put a bullet in giant monkey man's head. Fucking A, I'm gonna be popping a cap in his ass. Now, granted, it'll be sad, be like, oh no, Darrell, this is a Bigfoot, it was lost. It was just not, there's only like two of these in the world. And I'll be like, oh, that is so sad. I'm gonna go take this on talk shows now and be super fucking famous now. And that is me in my calm relaxed 40s.
Mm.
In my 20s, I'd have put 3 bullets in the damn thing in 2 seconds and been all like, I think it was a Bigfoot. It was that there's a guy in a ghillie suit. We'll find out.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. Is for him seeing it for how far I've
2
waited. Say
minutes.
for 2 minutes. That's the thing that stood out to me was, of course, he saw it in the shadows. He was hanging out by the banks. He saw it from a far distance. He was in the dark,
Did it
whatever.
say how far?
It did 50 yards
That ain't far. Dude, that, oh, man.
in the dark and at this lake.
Your scope, when you look through a scope on a rifle,
Uh-huh.
it is brighter through the scope than it is there. Now, granted, don't go around trying to look through a scope in the middle of the fucking night. But I mean, if he still considered himself having enough light to hunt, and then he had enough light to shoot that damn thing.
Yeah, but that's what
So
stood out to
I
me with the
call
2 minutes.
bullshit.
That's what stood out to me was the how long he was able to witness it. Was most of the time it's a fleeting moment, like you said. You see it out of the corner of your eye, or you see something, not sure what it is, but able to witness it for 2 minutes. That what leads me to believe
I mean,
him a little more.
I'm not a trophy hunter. Like, I don't go around saying, like, I want to go to Africa and kill a lion or a rhinoceros
Uh-huh.
or bullshit like that. But if you are a hunter and you're out there, say, hunting deer or turkey or something like that, where you're sitting still, and I mean, so we're in Texas, and I was up by Oklahoma and I saw a mountain lion. Mountain lions don't usually run around there. So, of course, I shot at the damn thing.
Uh-huh.
If I was there and I saw a bear, I would shoot it because it's like, holy shit, this ain't supposed to be here.
Something's probably wrong with it.
No, not even that there's something probably wrong with it. It's like, holy shit, everybody's going to lose their fucking shit. I shot a bear. And it's, like I said, I'm not a trophy hunter. I'm not somebody's like, I just want to kill something just to have its fur or skin. But if I'm somewhere hunting deer and a Bigfoot comes out, I'm shooting a Bigfoot. And
Uh-huh.
so I've refused to believe that some hunters all like, oh, he was so majestic. I watched him walk away and then I touched myself. Fuck you. No.
Well, we know what Darrell will do. What would you do if y'all came across Bigfoot,
I have a
or what you
feeling
thought was Bigfoot? Would you
I have
take
a
a shot at it?
feeling I have a feeling if we still have one listener in particular that has worked very hard to stick with us, despite some of our stances on certain things.
Uh-huh.
If she's still with us, I think this one her comment might be "fuck you, Bigfoot for life. I hate you both." So we'll find out.
Well, I have one more detailed report of a Bigfoot sighting that
Oh, please tell me.
that is once again. I only brought it up because it sounds pretty credible. That's the only reason I brought it up.
Okay.
All right. In December of 1989, my friend and I went hunting on my family's property near Caddo Lake. It was about 2 hours before dawn, and we settled into our deer stands. My deer stand was on the edge of a pipeline clearing. My friend's stand was in a thinly wooded area overlooking a small clearing about a quarter mile away from mine. I sat in my stand freezing my butt off. I didn't hear or see anything for almost an hour in the freezing temperatures. There was a full moon that night and it was pretty easy to see in the cleared areas. About an hour before the sun started to rise, I noticed something coming out of the woods. It began to walk down the opposite side of the pipeline clearing towards me. It stayed in the shadows, once again, along the side of the wooded area it had exited. It was walking on 2 legs. At first, I thought it may be a hunter, but looked hard to see if he had a gun, and I didn't see one. This was private property a mile off the nearest road, and I didn't see a gun. It was also deer season, dark outside, and the woods are thick with trees, vines, and briars. This thing had just walked out of the woods that are hard for me to walk through during the daytime without getting cut up from the briars. I couldn't imagine any person strolling through these woods at night during deer season. At first, it was probably 75 yards away, but he was getting closer. I thought maybe I'm seeing things, but I decided to click the safety off my gun just in case. Immediately after I had clicked off the safety, this thing heard it. It was barely audible to myself. I could tell he had turned my direction because his shoulders were now turned towards me. Without missing a step, he was now walking backwards while looking at me. About 4 steps backwards, he quickly spun around, and I couldn't count the steps after that. It took a few more steps and quickly exited the pipeline. It entered the woods at a different location from where it had exited. I still couldn't believe what I had seen, but I kept watching where it entered the woods in case it came back. I noticed one large tree a few yards back in the wooded area that was higher than the other smaller trees around. This tree began to shake violently. After that, I was done hunting, but was too scared to exit my stand. I was certain that it had to be Bigfoot. Every noise I heard that spooked me. I stayed in my tree stand until my friend came and got me after the sun came up. I told him what I had seen. I don't know if he believed me, but we went to look for tracks. We didn't find any tracks. We saw a well worn trail on the ground where he had exited the woods. I couldn't enter this trail because the trees and briars were really thick. He goes on a little more. He said he noticed an old plastic pail hanging about 5 or 6 feet up in the tree that has been shook. I have no idea why this pail was there. Nothing was in it but pine straw. The woods were too thick from that point on and didn't see where it could have gone from that point. That's the end of the report.
Oh my god, that one was worse than the other one.
Why?
That was so much worse. No, it is such bullshit. This is the problem. You've never been hunting.
No,
All right.
not.
So, a couple things. One, a full moon being out the night before means all fucking shit. Whenever you get, because when you go out hunting in the morning, you go out before the sun comes up, and you don't. By the time that you're really getting out there, the moon's already starting to get out of the way. Sun's still not up. It is dark as fuck. I mean, dark. And I've sat out in the middle of the woods and have heard, stuff like this, and swear that like a deer's like walking right underneath me. And I mean, you'll sit there and strain your eyes and you'll try your hardest to see in the dark, and you might start seeing things move around in there. And then the sun comes up, and that spot you've been staring at this whole time, or you've been hearing, you might see a squirrel go, or you might see nothing. But the thing is whenever it is that darkness right before the sun rises, you can't see shit. And half the time, whenever you think you're seeing stuff, you're not. You're just trying really hard to see things.
Yeah.
2, that I call bullshit on. What asshole goes and hunts with a deer rifle that has an audible click on the safety? I mean, I'm sorry if a Bigfoot can hear that, a deer's gonna hear that.
True.
And deer are skittish as hell. I mean, like I know with mine, I kept my safety on, and mine was a button, and whenever you'd push in one side, it would come out the other. And so whenever the safety was on, it was pushed this way, and then whenever I wanted it to fire, I'd have to push it the other way. And so I would sit there and have like a finger on each end and just slide it over. And I pushed that off when deer were around, and none of them went, like looking around, what the fuck was that? And I mean, and a Bigfoot, with it being a biped, and having ears on the sides of its head like human, not like on the top front like a rabbit or a deer or anything like that. It's still gonna pick up sound, but it's not really gonna be able to pick up too many more sounds than people can.
True.
Like even if it could hear better than the average person, then it'd probably hear as good as a blind person. And even a blind person, you try to click a safety off while they're, 20, 30 yards away, aren't going to go, what was that? That's not how that works. So I call bullshit on that. 2, it walked backwards, like watching. I mean, seriously, that again, it's dark. You can't tell what the fuck it's doing. His magic. I mean, I don't know if he did shrooms the night before or what. He's full of shit. The bucket hanging in the tree. Bucket hanging in the tree. That was probably an old feeder. Trees grow. It might have been lower in a reasonable size. I don't know.
Yeah.
50 freaking years ago, but it was probably a makeshift feeder, and over time trees get higher. Pail that's stuck in it goes up too.
Okay, I could buy that
Derp.
one. I could buy that one.
Uh, and then on top of that, why did Bigfoot just sit there and just start shaking trees? The
I
hell's
don't
that
know.
about?
I know what you hear about a lot of the sightings, and that's one of the main things they say about the trees shaking uncontrollably. Like, what the hell is it doing? If
I
it
don't
is
think this
doing
guy's
something,
ever hunted before. Because the other thing was, he's like, once the sun came up, my friend came and got me. Who the hell? As soon as the sun comes up, that's when you actually get to start hunting. How did his friend sit there and be like, what was this Bigfoot sense tingling? It's like, oh, the sun just came up. I'm sure my friend is having an issue with Bigfoot right now. I'm going to come get him. Did he ever say that he radioed somebody or whatever?
he never said his friend saw it. He never.
Because like I never understood people take radios with them whenever they hunt. That doesn't make any damn sense to me. But so all right, so the sun comes up. That's when you start hunting. But then this guy's gonna walk up to you, and be like, "Oh, dude, sun just came up. You ready to go in?" I thought I heard a Bigfoot over here, so I wanted to come check on you. No, everything about this story was horseshit. It is a bad story, and until somebody gives me fucking like real, and it's not just one trail cam shot because you can fake that shit. I want multiple. I mean, you put up. If you're this much of a believer in Bigfoot, you want to prove it to the world, you go to Walmart and you keep buying trail cams and you put a fucking trail cam in every damn tree that you can in like multiple directions. And if there's a Bigfoot there, you are going to find it. I mean, the Texas Parks and Wildlife are able to track herds of deer and herds of like red wolves over in the West. You're telling me that, we got people that can track a specific deer among thousands, but we can't find one monkey man walking in through Caddo Lake, which is, I mean, it could be densely wooded at times, but it's not exactly a huge area. And again, fucking trail cams.
He's very stealth. He's very stealth.
I call bullshit. I mean, I want it to be real. I really, really want it to be real. But don't come at me with these fake ass stories. Now, I told you my weird stories, and my weird stories are mine. And people would be like, "Oh, dude, that's probably bullshit," or "You got this reason or that reason." If people give me an explanation, I'd be open to it. I'm not. I don't in any case if they're say, "Oh, it was definitely an alien I saw that night," or "It was definitely a ghost that was just shaking the bed that I was in." It could have been anything. Somebody's like, well, no, that's a form of sleep paralysis where your own leg kicks or something like that. It might be like, well, that's a possibility. But you tell me a bullshit, fucking horrible ass. I mean, seriously, Jason, I fault you for picking terrible Bigfoot stories.
No, I
You are
thought they
a
were credible.
sucker. No,
No, I thought they were
you
credible.
are a sucker.
They stood out for reasons that obviously did not stand out to you.
They were bad.
Well, I apologize.
I mean,
There
if
is
you want to
Bigfoot
put on a video during one of our podcasts and like make our listeners feel like they're not involved, then you give me a damn video of like a Bigfoot from multiple freaking angles on multiple dates
Just in
that
a
I
photo
can't be
shoot.
all like. I mean, that's my thing. If somebody's just like, oh yeah, no, I've got this one like little thing where if you look in the background, you can barely see him walk by. No, fuck you. I want multiple angles. If he walked past this trail camera, then he walked past the next one, and this is his game trail, and he's been doing this about once every 3 weeks, and we keep catching him. Boom, I'm be like, oh my god, Bigfoot is real. But if I see like a fucking spirit Halloween costume walk, 50 yards away, and he keeps like, just poking his head out behind a tree and like flipping a bird to the camera. No, I'm not going to believe that. And I'm also not going to believe some, like jackass. It's like, oh yeah, here's my hunting story. I mean, I'm sure whoever wrote that one is probably some dude that lives in like fucking Chicago that wishes that he could go out in the woods and find Bigfoot, but he can't afford to because McDonald's doesn't pay him enough to make it all the way down to Texas to go on his big giant Bigfoot hunting expedition. So instead, he like writes this fan fiction of like what it's like. Oh yeah, I hunted until the sun came up. You don't start hunting until the sun comes up.
Man, I have reached a nerve with Bigfoot.
I just hate bad stories.
Well, let's move on from Bigfoot. I'm going to finish by talking about the moss as it adds to the uniqueness of Caddo Lake. As you will see in the pictures, it's on all the trees. It looks, I can't describe how cool it looks.
We saw in
Spanish,
Louisiana too.
yeah, it's really cool. It's everywhere as it dangles and sways from the cypress trees. You would think that they are taking over, but the Spanish moss is not an invasive species. It only exists in clean air, so it serves like a canary in a mine, just indicating clean air instead of toxic air. You see this stuff for sale in your local Hobby Lobby or Walmart for your houseplants. It also said that the moss can be used to help your wounds heal.
I think I remember them telling that. Didn't that dude tell us that when we were on that alligator
Yeah,
tour down in New Orleans? I think
yeah.
I remember him telling us
Like
that.
it never dies. Like you could just add water to it and it instantly comes back. Bam.
Oh, that's
It's
cool.
it's really cool. The guy
See,
on the
that's
boat.
way cooler than a bogus ass Bigfoot story.
I think most Bigfoot stories are bogus. There hasn't been one yet that's been yet. Yep, I've seen him. Here's a picture.
I have no doubt that there are better ones than the one that you read.
Well, the ones for Caddo Lake, these are the ones I found for Caddo Lake.
Well, I guess East Texas schools are not known for their like creative writing.
No, but if you see the place and if you see the movie and if you look at the pictures, the place you would think a Bigfoot would be able to live there, as far as it having access to water, being hidden in the woods. I'm not saying it's real. I'm just saying if there were to be a place Bigfoot would live, it would be a nice place to live
I mean, it's been.
for all the big feet out there.
I think at this point, I mean, we're an accepting enough society now that if Bigfoot just marched its big hairy ass out of the woods, we would help get it a haircut and find it a nice job, put it on some programs and get it educated and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And instead of living in like swampy, gross ass areas, we'll put it in an apartment or a duplex or something. So
Very true. I would like for it to be true as well, but
yeah,
I highly recommend visiting the lake. And I was told, like I said, I went a few weeks ago and the trees were just changing colors. But if you go during the fall and they really start changing colors, we went and the same dock Ian and I was at in July. We went back, like I said, just a few weeks ago, and there was 20, 25 photographers all with their cameras out, pointing towards the trees, taking pictures of them.
not a single Bigfoot picture, huh?
No, and they were all for travel magazines or
Oh, okay.
websites or whatever they were taking pictures of. But there they all were, all lined up taking them.
I love how I'm sitting there going off on this yet. I got my Roswell hat on. I'm like, oh my god, that is such
Aliens
a
are real, but
stupid.
Bigfoot is so stupid.
I I want Bigfoot to be real. I just at this point we've explored so much and we're able to photograph so much. And remember, I said the same thing about aliens and ghosts. It's just
Mm.
we've got all this way to capture images and videos
And
now.
never capture them. I know.
It makes it a little sus, as the kids say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that will do it for this trip. And join us next week when Darrell docks his dinghy and brings us another topic that made him say, "Wait, what?" We'll
I
see.
I
I
don't
got.
have I don't have a dinghy. I have big deck energy. I'm all about the big decks.
But they had some massive, massive decks
Yeah,
at Caddo Lake.
the
They were
biggest
double
decks.
decker decks.
Were any big black decks?
There were some big black decks.
Okay.
There were some shorter decks. They weren't getting much play on those.
Was it made up? Was it like little tiny Japanese maple decks?
Yeah.
Okay.
All
All
right,
right.
guys. We'll see y'all later.
Bye. Thank you for joining us for Waywut. If you would, tell your friends or your enemies that they can watch us on YouTube or Rumble. And if you don't want to see our face, or if they don't want to see our faces, you can listen to us on your preferred audio platform. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, you name it, we're probably on there. Please like, review, and comment on whatever platform you joined us on today. We'd appreciate that a ton. Again, just thank you for listening and watching. We hope you'll join us next time. We'll make you say, "Wait, what?"